The Centuria New Zealand Property Fund has now reopened for investment. With a minimum investment of only $10,000, it offers the opportunity to invest in a portfolio of strategically selected, directly owned assets, along with other property-related investments in the longer term, within the one investment vehicle. Investment in Centuria New Zealand Property Fund's second capital raise is forecast to provide investors with a pre-tax cash distribution of 5.09% per annum paid to investors monthly. Mark Francis is the CEO of Centuria New Zealand, formerly known as Augusta, who manage the portfolio.
I formed Augusta 20 years ago to provide New Zealanders access to quality commercial and industrial property. Following Augusta's merger last year with one of Australia's largest property fund managers, Centuria Capital Group, we've now adopted the Centuria brand and are part of a leading Australasian property fund management platform with approximately 17.4 billion Australian dollars of Trans-Tasman assets currently under management. We continue to look after thousands of investors, including those who invest the minimum, through to those with several million invested across multiple offerings. Importantly, we maintain the same conservative approach that we've always had, with a focus on quality assets, preservation and growth of capital, and regular monthly distributions.
Centuria New Zealand Property Fund, formerly known as Augusta Property Fund, is a unit trust that was established in July 2020 as an open-ended, unlisted property fund. At the time of the initial offer, the fund included one asset, the Anglesey Medical Centre, located in Hamilton's CBD. In Centuria's opinion, it is one of New Zealand's largest private healthcare centres and offers income diversification through 28 tenants, many being the Waikato's leading medical and healthcare providers.
The first capital raise for the fund saw strong interest from investors and was oversubscribed within 2 weeks of opening, which resulted in many investors missing out. We're pleased to now open Centuria NZ Property Fund for a second capital raise, providing more investors with the opportunity to participate. The intention of the fund has always been to grow over time, to continue to increase investors' exposure to a variety of property investments, whilst providing regular monthly cash distributions and the potential for capital growth. This second capital raise will be used to initially reduce the fund's bank debt to zero. This provides a strong platform for this growth, with significant balance sheet capacity available to acquire additional assets. All future investments by the fund will be strategically selected for their ability to continue to increase the diversification by sector, tenant and location, and contribute to the yield and capital growth. With no bank debt, the fund is also well positioned to add value to the fund's initial and largest asset, Anglesey Medical Centre, through further development of that property.
Anglesey Medical Centre, Hamilton CBD. This 2.4 hectare site contains 3 main buildings and is located in a prime corner position, benefiting from 3 road frontages. The asset was purchased for $55 million and was valued at $59 million in August.
A key feature of this property is the tenants' strong commitment to the site, with the 10 largest tenants having been in occupation for between 11 and 28 years. The major tenants include PathLab, one of New Zealand's largest pathology service providers with one of the most advanced laboratories in the Southern Hemisphere located on site. Hamilton Radiology, the main facility for this long-standing private practice with 10 locations. And Fertility Associates, the only provider of public and privately funded fertility treatment in the Waikato region. The property is also the home of Anglesey Clinic Urgent Care, Hamilton's leading private A&E. It holds an exclusive licence to operate 24/7. With the CBD location only 2 kilometres from the public hospital, it can benefit from the overflow of patients.
The location also provides flexible local zoning permits with a broad range of potential uses and building heights. There is relatively low site cover at the property, with ground floor net lettable area representing approximately 30% of total site area. These factors bode well for redevelopment and value-add opportunities.
We're currently in discussions with a major private medical provider that would act as guarantor for a prospective tenant in connection with a circa 1,500 square metre, 2-level extension at the northwestern corner of the site for a specialist medical service use, subject to agreeing acceptable commercial terms with the prospective tenant. Demolition works were completed earlier this year to increase the customer car parks and ready this area for future development. With the property's low site coverage, other development opportunities remain, and we are actively engaging with this party with regard to additional future developments on the site.
Since the fund's establishment, it has acquired Anglesey Medical Centre's neighbouring property, 26 Clarence Street. Positioned directly adjacent to the rear access, it provides further options for future value-add redevelopment.
This well-maintained property has been occupied by the Waikato District Health Board in its current use since 2008, with a current 6-year lease term from March 2021. A 2-level extension with good stud height and natural lighting was completed in 2021 to meet the tenants' requirements, and they are currently investing significant expenditure on their fit-out.
In line with the fund's growth strategy, it also acquired an additional asset in October this year, a City Fitness gym property constructed in 2019, located in a new subdivision within a growth location near Christchurch Airport.
This modern facility provides a new 12-year lease term from the settlement date and rights of renewal until 2045, along with a 12-month rental guarantee from the tenant's parent company. The City Fitness Group is a New Zealand domiciled but offshore-owned health and fitness group operating at over 40 locations throughout New Zealand. The site is industrially zoned but with a resource consent to be used as a fitness centre. The zoning, large bulk retail style of the facility and the low site coverage also lends itself to multiple uses in the long term. The smaller size of this asset also means there is a larger pool of buyers should a future strategy involve the sale of this asset.
The property was acquired for $9.3 million on 29 October 2021, with the property valued at $10.05 million as at 3 September 2021, with this increase directly benefiting investors.
To provide additional assurance to investors and to mitigate the effects of further COVID-19 lockdowns, Centuria Capital NZ will provide a rental underwrite for all properties of up to $500,000 for a period of 6 months from the initial allotment of units.
The fund is structured as a PI or portfolio investment entity. This means that the maximum tax rate for your investment will be 28%. Tax deductions for depreciation of commercial and industrial buildings were also recently reinstated, which is a benefit for investors. The offer is also fully underwritten, which provides assurance to investors that it will proceed. Cameron Baggery is a leading economist with over 20 years' experience. For over 11 years, he was the chief economist at ANZ Bank.
The New Zealand commercial property market has performed well, generating a total return, that is income and capital growth, of 14.9% in the 12 months to June 2021. Rising interest rates will likely temper that growth, but the right assets and strong sectors and positions that offer opportunities to add value will remain in high demand. The health sector has been an outperformer in terms of real, that is inflation-adjusted, economic growth for the past 30 years. The economy has averaged real economic growth of 2.4% since 1978. Healthcare and social assistance has averaged growth of 3.1%. That gap might not sound like a lot, but it has seen the healthcare and social assistance sector rise from 5.2 to 6.7% of the economy. Now that is closing in on the construction sector in size. I expect healthcare to continue to grow at a faster rate than the economy as a whole over the coming decade. The healthcare sector is relatively sensitive to movements in the economic cycle, maintaining positive momentum when the economy has been in recession, such as during the Asian crisis of the 1990s or the global financial crisis of 2008-2009. Population shifts and demographics will be a major driver of demand for health services going forward. Health expenditure tends to grow more quickly than income over time in most economies. The population aged 65 plus is projected to broadly double in the next 30 years, rising from around 800,000 at present to near 1.45 million. Population ageing will put a financial strain on the government's financial position, with government healthcare spending projected to rise from 6.9% of gross domestic product in 2021 to 8.6% in 2045 and 10.6% in 2061. Treasury's statement on the long-term fiscal position, which is broadly about making the tax and spending numbers add up without borrowing too much, notes that healthcare spending is central to the long-term fiscal challenges because it is a large and growing part of total government spending. It seems inevitable that greater private sector provision of healthcare services will be required.
One of the most frequently asked questions we receive from investors relates to liquidity. Specifically, can an investor sell their investment? Although we as the manager do not intend to quote these units on a market licensed in New Zealand in the future, and there is no other established market for trading these units, here at Centuria NZ we operate a secondary market facility which matches the buyers and sellers of units. The liquidity of a unit is very much related to the performance of the underlying assets. Since 2014, we've facilitated secondary sale transactions with a total sales value of over $44 million. The long-term intention is for the fund to also offer a monthly redemption facility. We believe that the value-add opportunities provided by Anglesey Medical Centre and the adjacent property, combined with the City Fitness Gym's strong long-term cash flow and the initial zero bank debt position following the offer, position this fund well to achieve the objectives of growth, diversification, regular distributions, and further capital growth. Centuria Capital NZ is an existing investor in the fund, and we're co-investing further, committing to subscribe for 1.15 million units in the offer in addition to the 3.85 million units we already hold. We expect strong interest in the offer, and we recommend your earliest attention.
For more information, including a copy of the product disclosure statement, please contact Mike Hawker, Samara Phillips, Sarah Preble, or Shirley Leung from the Soul Selling Agents Bailey's Real Estate.